let's talk about some Pokemon antagonists. And I see this list is missing one, and honestly, I don't even really care because Chairman Rose was barely an antagonist. I, like Pokemon. You need one of two things needs to happen. Either you need to flip up the formula and not have an evil team at all, or like have no antagonists at all, or just make the antagonist of Pokemon do something different, or stop trying to do the villains hidden in the background like the. Here's the thing, like I like some versions of that, but Chairman Rose, if he was on this list, which I need to update. Hold up, wait a second, because we do have some we do have some bomb Pokemon antagonists. Oh my! But then we got some great Pokemon antagonists. Then we got some, you got the okay, and then you do have some meh Pokemon antagonists, and then you have obviously, of course, the the only why do you exist? But let's get chatting about Pokemon antagonists. I say Chairman Rose, why do you exist? Honestly, it was kind of just a waste. I would prefer if Eternatus himself was the villain that was just slowly reviving himself through the use of power spots, and like you could allude to that throughout the entire story. Because it seemed like it was Eternatus himself that was the villain in the background. I don't think anyone was really harnessing him in the Darkest Day timeline. I think it was just him. I think he was just kind of just chilling, going around, taking over the world. I would have preferred that almost in like an Ultra Necrozma sense, where the Pokemon itself is just an antagonist, and you have to work with that. Like that would have been more interesting. Chairman Rose, last minute plot twist. The moment you see him, you know he's evil. We just had a better version of him with Lucamine, not a generation ago, and then like 3 generations ago. Yeah, he gets us. You had better versions of what Chairman Rose tried to be. So he's really why do you exist, and he's right next to Archer with why do you exist, because Gen 2 feel like antagonist. Gen 2 is just a waste. Like story wise and antagonist wise. It's sad to think about, but it's honestly true. Like I do not remember a single thing Archer did, except I think he took over the radio tower and failed to contact and bring Giovanni back because he lost us. It was simple as that. Like you're trash, dog. Like why actually do you exist? And then let's move right on up to the meh. Like the meh. Like honestly, Archie, I like your design more than Maxi, but I can't in good faith put you in okay because both of y'all are just stupid. Like unbelievably, irrevocably stupid. I don't understand. I want to drown the world. I want to do the exact opposite. I want to dry the world up. For what? What was the logical course of action? What was the plan? What were we gonna do after that? Like in Archie's case, where were you going to live? Were we gonna get a Wind Waker? You said drown the entire planet. I don't even think we could have a Wind Waker. Was everyone gonna live on ships and in submarines? What good does that do? What about all the Pokemon who rely on land and won't be able to breathe underwater? Like, I don't get it. I think no, a lot of your Pokemon's, a lot of your team's own Pokemon wouldn't be able to survive in the environment you wish to set up. So I don't get what your plan was. And same to Maxi, if you dry out everything, if you remove all water, all you 70% water-based life forms are gonna die in like a few weeks from, at best, a few weeks from dehydration. Maxi, what was the plan? What was the logic? Tell me. I want to know. And here's the thing: you can have crazy villains. You can have crazy villains, all right. But what you can't do is have those crazy villains and have them flip on their motivation the moment that they're, it's not even challenged. They succeeded. They got the legendary Pokemon, but the legendary Pokemon was, oh no, it's more than I expected. I didn't think the Pokemon that's literally known to drown everything or try everything up was actually gonna drown everything and dry everything up. Whoa, that's great. Like if they had just gone full in and been like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted, and then you have to beat them and then beat the legendary, that'd be one thing. But the fact that they flip makes their already stupid motivations even worse. Their teams are weird. They're weird all around. Archie and Maxi, both together, are just no, no. Why? Who said it was a good idea? And here we go. Honestly, yeah. I feel like Pokemon is now. You may be wondering why am I putting Lysander in? Okay. I find what he does interesting. I don't like Team Flare as a whole. I really don't. It's just not my vibe. But I like how he takes a few parts of what I like of different antagonists. He takes parts of Giovanni, he takes parts of Getsus, he takes parts of Lusamine, even though it came before Lusamine, and he's integrated into the region, which is what Getsus, Giovanni, and Lusamine are. They're integrated into the region. They're big figures, and they just have this separate objective. His objective is to preserve all beauty, but the thing that I lose Lysander is one, his design is a little bit too flamboyant. Like, you took one look at this giant redhead man in an all black suit, and you're just like, yeah, you're the villain, and you just wait for the reveal. And I find it cool though. Like, that's the thing. I find Lysander such a mixed bag because at one end he's really cool. He created the Holocaster. He's integrated into the region. He's one of the richest people around apparently. He has this really interesting backstory. I even like Pyrar's design, and I don't mind that he mirrors that. I just find his design a little bit too weird. It's just that we didn't necessarily have enough time in the X and Y story to build up Lysander as an actual plausible threat. Even though Lysander did some things, like he got the legendary Pokemon, he revived them, he got the ancient Geo weapon, he captured AZ, he did all this research and almost succeeded. If it wasn't for us, the region would have been destroyed. And I don't mind that he goes crazy, but it's kind of just, it's a crazy that doesn't come in an interesting package. And I know that sounds really weird. Like, what do you mean an interesting package? But when I look at Giovanni and I see, no, not Giovanni. When I look at Getsus and I see crazy, I can understand why he would break down. I'm not sure why Lysander broke down. So he's really he's definitely in that middle tier. He's definitely okay where he's all right, like battle wise. He's all right design wise. He's all right villain wise. His motivation is weird, but he doesn't flip on it. Like, that's why these two are down in meh and not in okay. This guy never flips on his motivation. It's these two that are just like, oh no, I don't like what's happening, even though this is exactly what I wanted. With their fat brain cells, their galaxy brain cells. While Lysander, he was just down. He was down with the darkness. He was ready to go, and he blew himself up. I'll give him credit. He was real down to the last second. And to get to the other okay, who I do like more than Lysander is Guzma, and Guzma is a you use the word. I won't even use the word, but you know what Guzma is. He was all in for Lusamine, and she had two kids already, dog, and a husband that she misses. I'm pretty sure you were not about to do anything to get close to that, and I don't like the idea that his whole I like that's the thing. I like the idea of Team Skull, just this band of misfits that had nowhere else to go, and Guzma took them in. He gave them a home. He gave them Pokemon. He gave them something to live for, which is really nice. However, he has his external motivation, why he does all this stuff and why he does everything he does in the story is for Lusamine, and his end goal is something he won't ever reach, and we see he doesn't reach, and he ends up just getting trapped in ultra space along with Lusamine, and that's really it. Like, I don't even remember Guzma in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which is weird. I don't even remember what he did in that game. I just remember he was kind of he was all in for Lusamine, and that's kind of a boring motivation. His team, all right. His evil team, all right, but wish they were used better. Wish they weren't just like a fake out for the Aether Foundation, because it just makes it wonder why they're there. Like, obviously to capture Pokemon, but the Aether Foundation seemed to be able to do that fine on its own by acting as a front. Team Skull is just a bunch of nuisances, and that's what Guzma was. Like, Guzma has a really cool design. I like his design. I like his signature Pokemon, Golisopod. I like his personality. I like a lot of things about Guzma. It's just that his motivation, why he does what he does, isn't that interesting. That's why he's okay. He's once again in the middle. I do think he is better than Lysander. And I'm just going to flip Archie and Maxie because I like Archie's design more. Moving up into the... So yeah, Lusamine's in great, and I think that comes down to a couple factors. It's how she causes other characters to externally develop through her own behaviors. Like, she is the entire reason Guzma is even a thing, and Team Skull is practically used at all. She's integrated into the world really well, which is the part I liked about Lysander. And basically, these three are the big like I was integrated into the world. I was already part of the world around me in a way you didn't even notice. Though with Lusamine, it was noticed, it was a big part. She runs the Aether Foundation. I like her backstory, how she lost her husband and stuff like that, and that led to her obsession with the Ultra Beast and her constantly being dissatisfied with everything in her world, like her own daughter and her own son. They weren't perfect. She wanted her little beast because they would make her happy, or at least that's what she thought. That's really interesting. I like her. You can, well, both her and Lysander went crazy. I like Lusamine's crazy that comes as like a true legitimate result of a traumatic event, like losing her husband to the portal and then slowly obsessing over not just getting him back, but controlling and being a part of what took him in the first place and how she fell to that, just like he fell to that. Except she fell mentally and physically, getting possessed by Heligo and going into their dimension. I find all that cool. What holds it back from perfection in my mind is I just, once again, it's the fact that she's her personality, while interesting enough, she has the fake front of being a good individual, yada yada yada, working for Pokemon and people in the Aether Foundation. That's really really good, but it's weird. Like I've seen it done better. That's it. That's it. That's the way to put it. I've seen her integration into the world, and I've seen her character type done better in other gens, and that's what holds her back. I don't see Lusamine as a manipulative person. I see her as a person acting to be a good person until she finally flips for everyone to see, and then her arc gets resolved immediately. Technically, you could say she wasn't even really a full-on antagonist. She was just a grieving mother and widow, and she was going back to get her husband, only to get consumed by the real villain, which is the Ultra Beast. Just like Ultra Necrozma is a kind of basically the real villain of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, not really Ultra Recon Squad. So really on flip up, like she isn't really even an antagonist in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So I think she's great all around. Like how she interacts with the world around her, forces other characters to develop in an interesting way. And she would be perfection if I hadn't seen her done better in other places. The next candidate up in great would have to be Cyrus. Now, I am intrigued with what Cyrus stands for. I like his sort of I want to be the king of everything and I'll go to any means to achieve it. And to be fair, Cyrus did do every single step to achieve his goal. He got the Lake Guardians, he organized the team, he was ready to recreate the universe, he even summoned Dialga and Palkia, just that he wasn't prepared for Giratina, and Giratina came out and slapped him, at least in Platinum. And that's really it. Like Cyrus is a no-nonsense nihilist that believes that he is right in every way, shape, or form, and he's going to go and prove it by remaking the universe in his image. And that's cool. That's amazing to think about. It's just that I I personally like I know a lot of people are gonna be like, no, he deserves to be in perfection for what he did, and kind of how almost revolutionary he was, especially in comparison to the previous gen's villains. However, his personality is a little bit bland for me. I understand why it's bland. He's fully giving into his not stereotype, his type of character, and that's all right. But it doesn't entertain me personally, and it never necessarily intimidated me. And of course, he got really, 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 really close to succeeding, but he never necessarily did. And Giratina slapping kind of just took over, wherein Cyrus really got to his end game. And the end game is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of a character, especially when talking about them in comparison to other characters who hypothetically did reach their end game. And you're gonna get more into this when I talk about like the discussions you almost have with these future antagonists I'm about to talk about next. But I feel like there isn't much of a interplay between you and Cyrus. There's just Cyrus doing his due, and you're reacting to everything he does, and then you save him in the end. That's my view on Cyrus. And let's get to the last great Pokemon antagonist. It would have to go to Colress. Now, Colress is a scientist, and I like scientists if you haven't figured that out yet. I like people who do things because they want to do them for the sake of logic and discovery. Like this man right here, this is my type of character. I really like it. And what I like about Colress, especially in comparison to a lot of the other villains before him, is that you almost have a real-time debate with Colress every single time you interact with him, because he wants to bring out the power of Pokemon by using scientific developments and stuff like that. And I feel like Colress would have been such an interesting person to have in Gen 6 when Mega Evolution was such a big thing, because Colress was just interested in bringing out the pure power of Pokemon. And every time you just fought with him, just like with N in the original Black and White, you were almost having a discussion, because he used items, he used all his technology to try and make his Pokemon powerful, while you just made your Pokemon powerful by loving them and interacting with them and going through experiences with them. So you had that nice back and forth debate throughout the entire game where he just, like a true scientist, he just tries again and again and again. He's not gonna flip after one battle, after one interaction or hypothesis. He's not gonna let his hypothesis get proven by one external event. He's going to retest it again and again and again. And when you finally beat him, and he's just like, "Yeah, I respect it. You're right. You proved to me your version of bringing out the power Pokemon is better than my version, and I concede." He gives in. And that's really really interesting to me, because you just, it's hard to think, it's a really like subconscious almost, you have to look back and reflect on Colress to think about that. But it's nice how he does that. And then when he disbands Team Plasma, it makes total and perfect sense. He's very by the numbers, by the book, I'm doing this because it makes logical sense to me kind of character, and I find that interesting way more than someone who's bland, even if their motivations are interesting. He has interesting motivations that honestly kind of relate to a lot of Pokemon players. You do want to bring out the pure power of your Pokemon, whether you're doing it for just the gameplay or you're doing it for competitive battling. It makes sense. You want to bring out the power of your Pokemon in whatever way possible. So you kind of can relate to Colress as a player, especially if you play competitive and stuff like that. So it he plays to a lot of the things that I like from the scientist, to appealing to bring out the power of Pokemon, to his nature of conceding and shutting down Team Plasma, regardless of what Gessis says, even though Gessis made him the leader, because he was just proven wrong and he had nothing else to do. So that's really cool. I like Colress all around. He's great, but he is held back slightly from perfection because of his, not his, yeah, his lack of integration into the region. Like what Lusamine and Lysander have, he's missing. He's also missing. Like, I like his type of character, but it's not my favorite type of character. It's so weird to explain. Like, I don't have an official objective reason why Colress isn't great and not in perfection. Just like I don't really have an objective reason for all three of these characters not being in perfection, because you can make your arguments for each one of them. It's just my personal biases make me put Giovanni up in perfection above all these people. And to talk about Giovanni, one, integrate into the region. Two, intimidated. Three, good team. Four, he's a gym leader, so he was in it from the start. He's the leader of the original evil team. He's a mafia. Everything about Giovanni is just cool. He's just cool. He's cool. Like, is there anything else I need to say? Like, he's the basis for all these other colorful antagonists, and I almost like that he's so pure and simple. He wants the money, and he'll do whatever to get it. Like, look at his design in comparison to every other Pokemon antagonist here, even his own admin. He doesn't have any weird bright colors. He's a man in a suit with a typical haircut and black hair, because he's just that flat out old style intimidating man, and that's just really really cool. I like how he does that. I like how you just find out more about Giovanni, obviously through later gens and yada yada yada. You could say, well, in Gen 1 he wasn't that developed, but I don't really care, because I like how he's Silver's dad. I love how you have that event in Heart Gold Soul Silver with Celebi, and you find out all about that. I like how you just learn, and also it's not like with Colress where you have like a legitimate back and forth discussion with him, but you remind Giovanni of why he battled in the first place. Like, all what Giovanni became was almost because of a matter of him becoming too strong. Like, he lost the interest in battling and forgot the true purpose behind it when all the stuff like the money and all that rolled in and the power rolled in. So when you beat him, he's just like, well, when you beat him multiple times, and he's just like, you know what? Yeah. You know what? You remind me of why I started training Pokemon in the first place. And he goes off. And then the entirety of Gen 2 is meant bringing him back. I like so much about Giovanni. Super interesting character. I may actually just do like a video on Giovanni, like his own individual video, because I think he's a really great character. And of course, he commissioned Mewtwo and had him under his control for a while. bro, bro. And then of course Rainbow Rocket. Who led Rainbow Rocket but Giovanni himself from another timeline? Everything about Giovanni, perfection. Now this is where my bias is going to kick in because Gen 5 is the first Pokemon generation I have clean, clear memories of, and I think I did play Gen 4 first. Like I remember playing Diamond, but I don't have the deep connection to that as I do to Gen 5. And what I really like about Getsus is once again, he's integrated into the region. And he does the twist villain. Like he obviously you look at him again, he's obviously evil. Come on, he's a leader of Team Plasma. You can tell that. But the way he has such a way with words. Like Giovanni was in control because he was a powerful trainer. He was an intimidating figure. But Getsus isn't just a powerful trainer who wins people over by being stronger than them, but he's a man who can use words to bend people to his will, and that is what is so interesting about him. He convinced chunks of Unova, an entire region, a whole populace, to be like, you know what? Yeah, are the Pokemon really happy? Like, should we release them? And he does it all. And I know people are gonna be like, well, that's a really interesting argument that he brings up, but he's lying about it. He's just your typical evil guy, and I know, but I like how he does it. Like he could easily have been like, I'm taking over the region, blah 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 blah. He could have been like, I'm just gonna get the legendary Pokemon and sweep all of y'all. But no, he uses N as an outlet. He convinces people to his side just by using, I don't want dare I say logic, but he's like bringing up facts that people always knew but never necessarily thought about until he brought it to the forefront of their minds and they just start to discuss things. And it's little stuff like that that just makes Getsus more and more interesting. And the fact that he just brings up the debate at all is obvious points towards Getsus. The way he like Getsus has so many aspects from all these different characters that I like. I like his design for how goofy it is. That comes from these two characters. You really don't have anything to offer. Other than the fact that you try again, which Getsus also has in Black and White too. You have an interesting design and an interesting personality, which Getsus also has. All of you have into all well, you three have integration into the region. You're intimidating. Like Getsus took a piece of almost every single antagonist and pulled it into himself. He manipulated other characters for his will, such as all of Team Plasma, the two girls, and N himself. So you have Getsus using his words from every range, from the oldest people you know who wanted to release their Pokemon after listening to his speeches to the youngest of N, and like taking him in and grooming him to be the king and taking control. And the biggest thing I have to give to Getsus is that he succeeded. Think about that. He literally got to the end game. He took over Unova through N. Because if you did not show up and beat N with your legendary Pokemon, N was the champion. Like he brought the castle down on top of the Pokemon League. He took over. Because the Pokemon League in the Pokemon world is honestly like the highest form of government you have. If you're the champion, you're the basically the leader and protector of the region. That's something that Gen 8 goes into with Leon. And the way Getsus does that, where he's just basically just using N as like a human puppet, I find that really interesting. And then once you finally beat N, and Getsus finally just like, you know what? Fine, I'm done. I'm not gonna let this slide anymore. I'm gonna do it myself. And then you realize he's such a powerful trainer. He has a high dragon. He's such a monster. Like all around, Getsus is just amazing. And even when he snaps and becomes your basic evil, I want to take over the world guy, you can see all the multi steps to his plan and understand how complex the plan was and how patient he was. And that's why he snapped and got so mad when this random 10-year-old, or however old you are in Black and White, rolls around and just dismantles everything. Years, probably decades worth of planning, all thrown away by this one team. That's why he snaps. And then you have him try again in Black and White 2, using the final Pokemon that hasn't been captured. He baits N to come back. He gives control of Team Plasma over to Culver so he can rouse them up and make the Mons more powerful. He does everything right, once again, only to be foiled by a different 10-year-old who rolls through. And that's why he breaks down at the end. And Kurum's imperfect form, and either of his imperfect forms, even Kurum's fusions, the reason that works so well is because it kind of matches against this. He's a really powerful trainer with a interesting. He's a really powerful trainer with interesting design, interesting ideology, and an interesting backstory. It's just that he's not complete. And to be complete, he tries to consume everything around him, just like Kyurem, incidentally, ends up trying to consume the other two legendary Pokemon. All around, get this, perfection. Favorite Pokemon villain, antagonist, whatever. Anyway, that's it. That's my view for the amazingness of Pokemon antagonists. I still do like a lot, except for Archer. I don't really care about Archer. Well, even Archie and Maxie, with how stupid they are, I think they're still fun enough villains to watch. It's just that all these ones above them are better, and like, yeah, they're in rank order. Like, this could literally be a top, and like Rose would be. I think Rose would literally just be at the bottom. I really do not like Chairman Rose. That's something I don't know. Like, weakest part of Sword and Shield for me, and there are a lot of weak parts of Sword and Shield. But regardless, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you really want to help me out, support the channel. And honestly, I never even thought of this. What would you like me to make a tier list on? Because I just keep making them myself. Like, oh, I want to talk about this, I'll talk about this. This is basically my outlet just to talk to you guys about things I like that I don't have the time or really have enough to say in their own individual video. But please, tell me what you'd like to talk about in a tier list. Anything like that. I'll be willing to do it. But once again, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Trust me, it does. And the more people subscribe, the more that encourages me, the more people that comment, the more that encourages me, the more likes, all that stuff. It just encourages me to make you more content quicker, get out better content, stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching. And this is That Guy with Pencil. Writing off.